Alright, welcome everybody to the round 18 of the Trackstars TS2 Championship. They are at Tokyo, so the TS3 have raced, they're all in their garages now, and we've got the TS2s out on track at the moment. But sadly, we've got some breaking news. Mr. N-Spud, leader of the Mash Spuds Racing, has some news to tell.
Yes, good evening, DJ. Good evening, everybody. Yes, unfortunately, we have some breaking news here, development news here at Trackstars TS2 Touring Car Championships, where unfortunately, one of our drivers in Xylon 96 has had to withdraw his entry in the TS2 Championship. So, unfortunately, he's messaged me today and he says he's been going through a lot of things, hard moments through work with his family and with all the situations from coronavirus that's been going on throughout Australia, and yeah, all the hard lockdowns and stuff. So he's got a lot of personal things. So he's come up to me this afternoon just to say that it's not a goodbye from the Trackstars community. It's just hopefully that things can improve very soon. And he said he'll do his absolute best to try and make it onto the grid, at least for maybe one more round in the TS2 Championships, or it could be just a full-time season next year. So big news here, development in Trackstars TS2, and for myself as the leader of Mash Spuds Racing, it is very sad to see the 32 withdraw its entry from Trackstars Racing Series TS2, but obviously we do understand, obviously mental health and personal matters and work all come first before racing on Gran Turismo Sport. Obviously, this Gran Turismo Sport is always known to just be that little bit of relief away from the game, away from the work life, and just have a bit of fun. You know, have a bit of fun with your mates, have a good time. You know, contest for championships like he was in the TS2 with Little Blacko. But unfortunately, that strong run that Xylon 96 has had has come to an end, ladies and gentlemen. So we wish, myself as a team leader, I wish him the very best. I wish Xylon 96 the very best, and we hope to see him on the track very soon. But look after yourself, Xylon. You know I'm here to have a chat with you when the weeks go by.
Yeah, certainly. That's obviously a big call to make. We know how strong he was in the season, and even in the Bathurst 1002 when he was in the number 405. So very big unfortunate there for Xylon, but yeah, obviously work life and family life and stuff like that comes first, obviously with the league racing. But we wish you all the best, my friend. Don't be afraid to message one of us. But we got Little Blacko jumping in chat. You probably missed the start of it, but as Spud has just announced, due to some personal things, we have had the withdrawal from the TS2 series for Xylon. So unfortunately, he won't be contesting the championship for the remainder of the season. But big unfortunate there, and as we said, all the admins are here for you, mate. If you need us, message us. If you need message anyone in the community, go right ahead. But you're always welcome in TS2, in Trackstars, in main series, mate. Anything you want to do, come back along. So all the best, my friend. And it's pretty sad to see you go.
Absolutely. So it's a sad moment for myself, and you know, really seeing Xylon's progression through the TS2 championships, and even last year in the the Trackstars Formula 2, where he was making a name for himself, racing along the likes of likely Wiseacre, or now SDRT Wiseacre, and 0787, and some classic battles in the F2s, and even now having that strong battles with the likes of Viper Z, Mint Matt, Duran 50, and Little Blacko in the TS2 Championship. So he's definitely come a really long way in the Trackstars Championship, and we do wish him the very best. And obviously, I would love to send my condolences to him, and hopefully he looks after himself when it comes to, when it comes to his personal situation. So very sad, but I guess in a way it is a bit of a heartbreak for myself as a team boss.
Yeah, certainly. It's obviously not even just heartbreak on you. It's heartbreak on anyone. Obviously, everyone watching, everyone competing, stuff like that. We had some really good battles, especially Matt and Xylon at Suzuka. That'll definitely be one for him to remember. But yeah, certainly.
Absolutely.
it's a big shame. Obviously with the Kyoto coming, not Kyoto, sorry, St. Croix coming up as well. Would have been really good to see what potentially would have had in there, but obviously family comes first, and we don't like to condone having league racing and stuff like that come first. Obviously everyone, family is first, and real life stuff is first. So.
Absolutely. So we're all here for you, Xylon. Give us a chat when you are free, and I'll have a chat with you probably over the next week or so. But as we go from the sad news in Xylon's withdrawal, we go into the show must go on, DJ. We've got a TS2 pre-qualifying underway where we have big names such as Xylon 96, but also another big name that hasn't made the grid tonight is the one and only Matt Simmons, Matt.
Yeah, he was entered, and then unfortunately he put in a very late entry, saying that he couldn't race tonight. So, fortunately, same thing, mate. He's got some real life things going on with the uni and stuff like that. And yeah, he couldn't race tonight because he does have a couple of uni things to do. But yeah, we carry on. But I'd just like to make a little special note to Sirik here. He's done a DJ. Big disappointed tribute livery here, but I'll catch back him on the hairpin because you can see it a lot better. But he's also making his maiden debut race here at TS2.
Exactly, he's gone from TS3, where he's been showing on some great performances against Warpath 360 and Vossi, as we've seen on the previous broadcast in the Trackstars TS2 Championship, but in the TS3 Championship, I apologise. And now he's made the big move, the big leap forwards to TS2, which is the newer spec Nissan GTRs, as he's just gone in for a bit of a collision alongside with Luminous. So, like we saw in TS3, not the best start to your lap, but anyway, carry on. But yeah, he's making his debut TS2 Championships, and one that he's going to be looking forward to making come next year, DJ.
Here we go. Have a look at this. Have a look at this, everyone. Haha, bro, I'm struggling. Dash DJ. Mate, you've made my weekend. You really have. That's brilliant.
Oh, here we go. Just clear up.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's brilliant. All right, that's our laugh for the day. That's definitely made your week or your working week this time round for the midweek of October. Yes, we are here for round 17 of the TS2 Championship, where we only got about a handful of rounds to go, DJ. I think it's about 4 more rounds before we see the conclusion of the championship, and it's gonna be right down to the wire when it comes to battling out for top positions. As we heard the news with Xylon backing out of the TS2 Championship, the Little Blackos still had a 25-point margin over Xylon 96 at the time, but I guess between him and the next likely contender, which is Rugworth down in 3rd place and Mikez in 4th and Robbo in 5th, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. It's going to be hard for them to try and catch Little Blacko in the championship quest.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be hard, but I don't know about you, Spud, but look who's here in the top 3. That is Mr. Sirik here in 3rd place currently at the moment. But they're all starting to come through now. We've got Ando 787 out in front, Sir Slayer in 2nd, Sirik in 3rd. We've got Duran 50 also supporting a new livery there by CP Motorsports. That's a very clean looking livery there, so very nice by Chase.
That looks really good. So Chase is always he's a livery master, but also a good livery master is the Robbo Sport Camp. And Robbo Sport has been sporting these brand new cars for the Robbo Sport Racing Camp. And he's debuted at the Kyoto 500, but he's now been transferred onto the TS2 cars. And I must say, like, Robbo always delivers the goods. I know he always delivers the goods when it comes to the Trailblazer Championship with his cars, and I'm a part of his team in the Trailblazers esports racing team in the esports league. And the cars that he puts out is pretty impressive. But every driver, I must say, has that vibe of just like putting out, like having nice liveries. I mean, obviously your favorite livery is going to go towards Sirik, that's for sure. So, but yeah, but everyone's got a very unique flavor when it comes to liveries and different tastes. Little Blacko in 6th place is representing the old classic vibes of the Nissan 1990s sporting colors, but that was actually the sporting colors of the Robbo Sport Camp when they formed the Robbo Sport Racing with Lurox and Little Blacko back in the Bathurst 1000 in 2020. So he's bringing those vibes back to himself to hopefully get his chance, or his, you could say a comfortable chance of winning the championship. But I guess in a matter of weeks' time will tell for Little Blacko's championship.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I don't think there really is anyone that has the chance to catch Blacko, but I think he's a little bit too far out. Yeah, so the next person back is Rugworth, and he's on 1529 points, and Blacko's on 1885. So that's 340 odd points. So that's a very
It's a big gap, absolutely. So
yeah,
it's kind of like how like Shane Van Gisbergen in the supercars. He's got himself a really good lead, as we see Viper actually go fastest ahead of Sirix, and Sirix only about 0.1 behind Viper said. So we did see Sirix being the top performer in TS3. Can he prove that to be a top performer in TS2? I wonder, on his debut race.
yeah, to definitely be one to watch out for. He's gone best again by 0.124, so he's definitely trying to close in on Viper, but he's not one for tuning Syracuse, so maybe that might be a bit of a downfall. So if there's any tuning gods out there, maybe we could do a bit of work with Syracuse and see what he's got. But I did help him a little tiny bit for this tune, same as Sargent and Break Late. So I wonder how they're going to turn the tunes in Nissan around. But at the moment, he's got a 0.251 second gap back to Ando, so that's very, very surprising from Syracuse.
Yeah, and Ando, and you and I both know Ando as being one of the top drivers in any car that you put him in a Group 3 or a Group 4 and even a Group 2. He always provides to be a really dominant driver and a great driver to race alongside with. But he's not used to seeing Sirix ahead of his name, as we've seen in previous championships. I've raced alongside him, as he's a little bit faster than Sirix. But let's see what this lap does towards his charge. Can he get second place on the grid? No, he doesn't. So he doesn't improve. So he's got 3.5 minutes to go to try and catch up to Sirix and even Viper, because it's only 0.5 between the top three. And as we see, so Slayer down in 4th. We only see Duran 50 as high up as 5th place here. So he's probably not really comfortable with the car around this track just yet.
Yeah, I don't know See, I would really have liked to have seen him in the Honda and what he could do in the Honda in TS2, definitely. But he chose to stay with the Nissan, but he might not have his head around the Nissan around this track at the moment. So we know it's a very high speed track, long sweeping corners, obviously, and then we got the hairpin aspect to it. So depends on what kind of tune they're aiming for. Is he just scrubs the wall there? So he's got a little bit of understeer in that Nissan by the looks of it. But Viper's setting fastest lap after fastest lap. So I'd want to try and put my money on Sirix, but I got to put my Monopoly money on my teammate in Viper.
Exactly right, and he just appears to be a class of his own. Is that about a half second gap over Sirix?
Yeah, it's 0.496, so it's about half a second.
Go. More or less, yeah. So Viper said still pulling, but you would say 0.496 of a second in TS2. You could say for Sirix on his debut race, that is still an outstanding performance for Sirix. And if you look down in 5th place, we see Robbo Sporty. We've seen this for a trend for Robbo Sporty. He's made a mistake down at the hairpin. He might be able to maybe jump out, put on some fresh tyres, maybe come out for another test. But we're seeing with Robbo, he's put on to be a really good qualifier. But unfortunately, when it comes to the race, he just has a little bit of a moment when it comes to race pace, and it's always a shame because his one lap pace is super strong, but when it comes to the race pace, it just kind of falls back a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he has really good performance overall. I just think that he might struggle in a little bit of a pack there. Yeah, so that may be a little bit of a downfall, but we see Viper Z go faster again, so he's done a 118.2, so he's really progressing on main series times on the softs in that Lexus, so I think he's really started to get his head around it and taking the best out of it. Just we'll wait for him to go through this first sector here. As he goes purple again, so he's definitely coming to terms with that Lexus, certainly, but I don't know about you, but maybe working with Jono has definitely made you feel better about the Lexus, but definitely working with Viper has certainly got me more comfortable with the Lexus and how to tune it and stuff like that. So
Absolutely, yeah, and I've been learning a lot from Jono as well when it comes to when it came to the enduros. He helped me around some corners of the track and where I can find most of the lap time and where it was possible to try and gain time and where you would be losing time where you didn't really think you'd be losing time. And you watch his lap and then I watch my lap, but then overall in the qualifying performances, only Jono and myself were only separated by about. Only by about 0.2 of a second between the two of us, so it's not too bad. I mean, to keep myself paced with a top caliber driver in Jono, I would say it's a pretty decent effort.
Yeah, certainly, and it's good to see like that because I'm doing kind of the same thing. So I'll jump on board with Viper for a lap or two and then see what he's doing, and then I'll try and do the same thing and vice versa. And he shows me where I can really improve because obviously having someone like that with you they can really show something. But
oh, absolutely.
I'm a bit further out from Viper's pace. He's about 0.6 to 0.7, maybe 0.8 in front of me, but definitely I've gotten a lot faster. You probably saw that at Kyoto, just from working with him and stuff like that. But we did make an announcement earlier in the week that we will be trying to work with the TS2 and TS3 drivers a lot better. To try and kind of bring the community together more as a whole.
Absolutely, and as we've seen on the timing sectors, we see Ando actually go ahead of Sirik there on that last lap, so he's only just ahead of Sirik there, so great performance for Ando 787, making a return to the TS2 Championship, and he's been putting on some good performances, and so Slayer comes through, spinning around in 4th place. Duran 50 has improved some. He actually topples Sir Slayer, so he's moved up into 4th place. What about Robbo? Can we see Robbo's pace coming around the final corner? Will he be able to improve his time? He's on a personal best. So can he find 2:10s to get 5th place as he comes all across the line? No, he hasn't. So he's only just improved his time, but not enough to get 5th place there. And we've seen the rest of the grid. We have Robbo Sport in 6th, Nightwalker in 7th, Little Blacko in 8th place there. So if Blacko was in 8th, we would have loved to have seen where Xylem would have fitted in that amongst that top 8.
Yeah, I would have definitely liked to have seen what Xylon's potential was around here. Obviously we've got Viper in the Lexus, but we know what Viper's like, but Xylon's definitely gotten faster racing alongside these guys, but it's very different not seeing a Mint Matt on the grid, that's for damn sure.
Absolutely, not seeing Mint Matt, not seeing Xylon, but the top 3, but we see a new front row starts with Viper Z going up alongside Gridlines Racing, Ando 787 with the privateer Sirik in 3rd place, and Duran 50 for CP Motorsports in 4th, with Sir Slayer moving back to ISR Racing in 5th place as those lights go green, and we are racing for the Trackstars TS2 Championship, and Viper's got himself a clean start, a perfect launch off the line there, and he's got himself a good comfortable margin over Ando 787 right behind as the cars go squirming across turn 1. Sideways, left, right, front and centre. Not going to wait for those positions to settle down on the back straight, but one guy that hasn't lost touch or hasn't lost any positions at all is 5%, and look at that, he's already built himself almost a second gap at the end of the hairpin, DJ.
Yeah, he's definitely put on a gap there with on the initial lap, but we've got Ando in 2nd place and Sirik in 3rd, so I'll definitely be keen to see what Sirik's tune has got in a straight line compared to Ando's.
And Nightwalker's moved up into 4th place, so he's gained 3 positions off the starting line, but we see Sir Slayer coming right back at him. The 2 Hondas going side by side down the tunnel, the only 2 Hondas on the track this evening, as we see Sir Slayer actually go back ahead of Nightwalker, as we see Duran 50 and Little Blacko going side by side, riding guardrails alongside each other. Does Blacko make the move? No, he doesn't. He makes a bit of contact with Duran, so he's going to let him back, and he's going to be right behind. That is going to allow Robbo Sport to sneak in right behind his slipstream in 8th place, with Rugworth in 9th, Mikes 123 in 10th after a stellar performance at Bathurst in 10th place with a number 123. Budsy in 11th place with Break Late in 12th place, as we see Mikes have a penalty there, so just trying to burn that off, and probably burned it off at the wrong spot, but that's okay, we'll go play on there. Then we have Luminous in 14th and Devlin Calypso, the Belgian runner for Speed Different Racing in 15th place. So a full grid of cars tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but one car leading the way is the number 56 and your teammate DJ Viper Z.
Yeah, we all know Viper Z's fast, and I think he might be on a bit of a Sunday drive on this weekend, not having his very good friend and fellow racer in Matt Simmons. But I wonder if someone could put a bit of a message out to Matt, see if we can get him in the chat. It'd be good to see him out there. But yeah, he's definitely checked out here. But don't count out Cyric. Cyric's putting on a definite performance here. This is for his debut.
Solid.
Yeah,
A solid performance on his debut outing in TS2, and showed great performance in TS3. And you know, the guys like Warpath 360. So even if you put a guy like Warpath in the TS2 field, do you think he could actually match what Cyric's actually doing right now in third place, or do you think it might be a little bit more of a challenge? Because I think out of the TS3 championships, I did feel like that Cyric was just that little bit, you could say, just that little bit faster, a little bit more consistent when it came to race pace.
Yeah, definitely. I've been in a practice session with both of them, and Cyric looked a lot more. How could you put it? He looked a lot more smoother, as such. Like, he was a lot more consistent as well. So Warpath made a couple of little mistakes there, and then that's what Cyric would do. But it looks like Cyric's really put in the work there, really upped his driver rating, and he's done some solid work to progress into TS2. But not only to progress into TS2, to progress into TS2 in the top 3, 4, 5.
The top 3.
Yeah,
that's solid.
Yeah, for someone to debut, especially at a track like Tokyo here, where there's walls left, right, and centre, he's definitely put his head down and put his helmet on and pulled his finger out of his bum, as you'd say. And I think he's gone a lot faster in himself. He's impressed himself. So.
Absolutely, and he's a driver that only bought the game GT Sport back in March of this year, so he's only had the game for about not even 7 months, DJ, and to progress through the field like that, done a couple of league races outside of Trackstars, and then joined Trackstars Racing Series to put on a class performance in TS3, and now TS2 is he's starting to get hounded by Sir Slayer in the Honda. But that Nissan's just got that outright pace, and they go a bit of contact, wall grinding into turn 1 there. So Slayer's lost a little bit of ground there, not too much to lose sight of Cyric there, but a little bit of argy-bargy between those guys. It's good racing between those guys in 3rd and 4th place. But yeah, to make a debut back in March and we're already in October, that's some serious pace that he's got.
Certainly, and obviously to take it to the championship leader in Blacko, like thinking about it, like. If all of these drivers were in here at the start, obviously taking out the likes of Viper Z and Matt, because they've really progressed it through the back end of the season. But if, like, obviously the drivers from, say, Ando, Cyric, Slayer, Nightwalker, if they were in at the start of the season, would it be more of a title fight with, say, 4 or 5 cars rather than, say, Xylon and Blacko?
Well, that was the thing. We had drivers at the start of the season. We did have Ando 787 join us for the first couple of rounds, but then unfortunately his other league had a bit more priority over the TS2 championship, which is obviously fair enough on his decision and on his behalf to focus on that championship. But he was in the contention within that top 5 at the early stages, and then we had the likes of D Hughes over the CP Motorsports team, along with Xylon 96 and a few other drivers. And then we've just seen a bit of a trend where it's just been, we had a few consistent drivers fighting it out at the early start of the season, but then as the season is a very long season, DJ, you just see drivers just slowly start to drop off like flies, you know, like when you spray Mortine bug spray on flies, they just seem to drop pretty quickly. So obviously life gets in the way, but you have committed drivers, but you did have committed drivers, and then you have like situations like Xylon 96 had. So things can happen, things can change, but it definitely would have been it could have been a much closer championship had we had all of these drivers in the field as early as round 1.
Yeah, certainly. Like, obviously family stuff and other leagues and that come into play as well, but we try and put it so we don't really clash with anyone as such. But obviously life gets in the way of some things, but yeah, it would have really definitely have been a good thing to see if we had 3, 4, maybe 5 drivers go for the championship, as Bolo tries to make an inside move here.
Ooh, so there's a bit of contact made between those two boys, Bolo and Luminous there. A bit unfortunate there. I wanted to see if we catch an onboard of that, and let's just see how he goes. So Luminous goes for the inside move. He actually did it on his own accord, so he actually thought that bowler was going to make the move, and he just ran that little bit wide there. So, not a little bit of poor judgment there for Luminous, but that's okay. Obviously, you learn after your first race, but he's down in 14th and is in the clutches of Devlin Calypso in 15th, but still leading the way in the number 56 Satellite Racing Lexus RCF is Viper Z. That partners alongside yourself, DJ, in the Touring Car Championship. So, like you said, like you've mentioned earlier in the broadcast, working with Viper Z has been very, very well, has done pretty good wonders for you in the championship. And now we're getting into that ultimate stage of the Series Championship. How do you think you're going to progress come towards the end of St. Croix, at the end of the St. Croix 1500?
I feel a lot more comfortable now than what I did at the start of the season. You probably seen at the start I'd be like down in say 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th place. You know, got a couple of. I used to always get 4th or 4th, another 4th, but now I'm got a couple of wins under my belt. I'm working with Woodsy as well every now and again, watching him on how he races. But yeah, it's going to feel weird not racing in the satellite PLE car. So I'm back in my 24 full PLE car until St. Croix, but don't count us out for St. Croix. I'm telling you that much. So
Oh, absolutely not.
it's a long 1500 race, but yeah,
Yeah. And you and I know very well that that track is both of our favourite tracks on the Gran Turismo fictional tracks and on the Gran Turismo Sport game. So it's definitely one of our favourites for sure. So it's going to be an awesome battle. But look at the gap. The gap between Ando and Sirik has closed a little bit. He just made a mistake exiting the hairpin, Sirik, in the 98 privateer entry, which is doing a solid performance in third place there with a lovely message for you, DJ, as always. So, as you see, he's actually cleared away from Sir Slayer. So Sir Slayer was hounding the rear end of Sirik there in third, but Sir Slayer's just dropped off a bit, and Little Blacko has actually made the move on Nightwalker. So Blacko is now in 5th place, but one surprise, DJ, Duran 50 is only in 7th place there. I wonder if Duran 50 hasn't had much practice this weekend, or he just doesn't like Tokyo at all.
It could be a mix of three things, as you say. It might be much practice, he doesn't like it, but also the tuning aspect as well. So in practice with my tune, I tried one thing and then I kind of flipped them a completely different way, and I gained like 10, 15 Ks down the straight and through the corners and stuff like that. So I think maybe the aspect of not much practice and maybe a wrong tune possibly. Flick back to Bathurst in the TS2. We've seen him in a slipstream and he really wasn't gaining on the car in front. He kind of just sit there behind the car. So that might come into play as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a little bit of an odd sight to see Duran 50 outside of the top 5, which he hasn't really been outside the top 5 since he made his debut back at Blue Moon Bay Infield A. That TS2 round back at round 10 for Duran 50, where he took a clean sweep, and he took a clean sweep for those 5 races after that, and then obviously he's been battling alongside the likes of Viper Z, Mint Matt, and himself being the top 3 of the Trackstars TS2, and then he had Cylon 96 to work with as well, and then even Little Blacko, but you can see Little Blacko is 2 cars ahead of him, so it's just obviously things can change, like you've mentioned, but obviously in a way it's weird to see Duran 50 in 7th place. But honourable mentions go to Rugworth in 8th place there, DJ. He's holding up 8th place really nicely with Robbo Spore right behind him. And as we catch that, we caught good timing there. Robbo just crashes into the wall on the exit of the hairpin. As we see that replay, let's catch that on board as he goes onto the curbing there. He just runs a bit wide and that's a weird one. He just gassed it up too early there, DJ.
Yeah, these cars, when you gas them up too early, they can really snap on you. But he's gone from 9th place all the way down to 14, so he's just waiting for that engine damage to burn off. It should burn off around this corner, but we know they have light damage, so they don't have to worry about pitting it, so it's just burn off now. But yeah, that really played a part. Maybe he jumped on the ripple strip or the white lines there, and that really played a part in that. But
that's very unlucky. That's very unlucky for Robert there. And I was just saying with Rugworth that he was doing an excellent job to be up there, as high up as 8th place, because he is the driver that needs to fend off the likes of Mikez and Robbo Sport to consolidate 3rd place. But now Cylon's pulled out of the championship. I guess the 2nd place at Rugworth, he'll definitely be very happy with that for sure. But with the Robbo Sport camp, getting in themselves a first, third, and a fourth in the TS2 Championship, I think RoboSport would be a definitely be a happy team manager.
Oh, I'd definitely be happy if I was in Robbo's place. Obviously, maybe the individual performances each round isn't kind of what he was asking for, but definitely the solid performance at the start is what put him up there. But same as Rugworth, I do believe it's his debut season as well
Yeah, it
in
is.
the TS2. So he's got about what's that? 30. He's got about 50 odd points to McGee's. So it's not much.
Yeah, and those two are really those two like they do practice together once in a while, Mikes and Rugworth, and they do get together, and they are obviously good racing mates, so they're really challenging themselves with Rugworth in eighth and Mikes in ninth. But if we cut back to the front as we come to the conclusion of the first race here at Trackstars TS2 Championship, it has been an exceptional performance by Viper Set. Like you said, a Sunday drive for Viper Set, almost a 7 second gap over Ando 787, but rounding up the final corner for the satellite racing, and it is car 56 in Viper Z that's going to take line honours and the victory here at race 1 at Trackstars TS2 for the Tokyo Sprint. It goes to Viper Z with the fastest lap at the end of the race, so solid performance there. But look at this, TJ. Sirik and Ando are going almost going side by side.
Oh, he's got
What's
him!
going on here? And Sirik has gone through and taken Ando 787. What has happened here? Oh, he's caught the curbing on the last corner. And Sirik's going to come around the outside, go for a sweeping move, and wow, that is what happened. Something happened here that we didn't see. Oh, he's hit the brakes there. What has happened there for Ando? Maybe he had a penalty.
Possibly. I'm not overly sure. It didn't pop up on the screen, which is very odd. But yeah,
Wow,
that's wow.
that is what an unbelievable finish there, ladies and gentlemen. But top hats, top drive of the day has to be obviously joint first place with Viper and Sirik. Yes, oh no, that was Sir Slay with the penalty there. Apologise, but yes, but I think both top drives go for the Nissan and the Lexus driver. But the Lexus driver takes out the line honours here at race 1 for Trackstars TS2 Championship. But a solid debut outing for Sirik there in the 98.
Yeah, I'd be definitely very happy if I got the second on my debut in the series. Definitely with these fast drivers. Obviously, the drivers are not slow. They're definitely not slow at
No,
all.
absolutely not. And obviously something happened between Ando 787 there on that last chicane. Whether he got a half-second penalty for cutting the chicane or something happened to him, we're not too sure. So, but he did hit the brakes on the straight there. So I wonder what happened there. But might get a bit of clarification later on there. But as we see that when we see that grid, it was Viper Z taking out line honours ahead of Sirik, debuting in the TS2 Championship in second place, and Ando 787 in third place. So congratulations to all the drivers, and congratulations to Viper Set for taking out race 1. So awesome performance by everybody. Some awesome racing there, DJ, amongst the drivers. That was really great battling. But you could say for a guy like Viper Z, do you feel like he's just it's definitely a class act for Viper Z. So do you think maybe Sirik might be able to give him a bit of a challenge, a bit of a run for his money come race 2?
If Siri definitely gets if he gets a good start, he'll definitely be able to give him a bit of a run for his money, 100%. But Viper is very consistent. Maybe the pressure of having him there may get a hold of Sirik. But yeah, definitely we might see a bit of a challenge. But very surprised to not see Duram up the front.
Yeah, I think and Duram, that was something that Duram had, so a little bit unfortunate for Duram 50 there, and a lot of work to do for the CP Motorsports car 50 as we get ourselves ready in about 5 minutes time. We'll be back very shortly to call the action here for race 2 at the Trackstars TS2 Championship here for the Tokyo Sprint.
Alright, we're back, everyone. So thank you for sticking around. Breaking news as well for main series for the Straight On Racing team. We had SDRT Wiseacre in the 26. He did have his second COVID vaccine today, so he might not be feeling too well. So we got Mickey's subbing in for Wiseacre tonight in the main series. So nice.
Yeah, a very solid performer in Mikos, and as he was a safety car driver in the Elite Bracket Mechanical Bathurst 1000, and he knows he's a good driver. He's a good caliber, solid driver. Whether he can gun for big points tonight, we'll have to wait and see. But making his debut for the outfit team in Shade On Racing, it's not a bad way to mark your debut in the main series, DJ.
Yeah, exactly. Like, anyone can be there making a debut in the main series, as we see Benjo making his appearance tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's right. And we will see Benjo GLR 9. No, I was going to say GLR 19. That was his old gamer tag. It is ISAR Benjo 19, the new gamer tag. We'll be seeing him making his debut and subbing out for Brocker Lilly in the 13, which the 13 will turn to the 19 EBM Motorsport Nissan GTR, as well as Mikas driving the number 20, the number 144 in place for SDRT Wiseacre.
Yeah, exactly. But we got Brandosa in chat. Good luck tonight for all the races tonight except for Spud.
Love you too, Brando. Love you too, mate.
I don't know about you, Brando, but ever since that new thing has come out for the Drivers' Championship standings, we got a tie for first place between It's Racing and Diswood. We got myself in third place, and then we got Punch and V Papa tied for fourth, and then Spud in sixth. Brando and Gabans tied for seventh. So it's anyone's game coming into these last 6 or so rounds. So
Absolutely. And it looks like DJ. Have we got ourselves a guest appearance here for the one and only Viper Z? So Viper Z, can you hear us?
Oh, I think I can. Yeah, how are we?
Oh, loud and clear. Big congratulations on that first win there. Obviously, it was a bit of a comfortable drive for you to take the victory with the likes of Matt not being there. But were you actually surprised with the actual grid order as you crossed the start finish line?
Absolutely. I'm in my own stream at the moment on Twitch, and I was just saying to the viewers that I fully expected Turam to be a little bit further up the grid, especially knowing how quick he is in these cars. But I mean, all kudos to Sirik with P2. That's stunning. I can only imagine how good that battle would have been between him and Ando, and then to see Sursley up in fourth is pretty standard. No Xylon again. A bit of a shock not seeing him on the grid.
Yeah, well, we did announce the news at the beginning of the broadcast that Xylon is actually pulled out of the series as he's had.
Oh, you're kidding.
So he's had, unfortunately, some work-related issues, and then obviously things come up like coronavirus, like the COVID pandemic in Victoria, family problems, and like a bit of work struggles and personal health as well. So he's decided just to take a bit of a step back and just remove himself from the game for a little while. We may see him back. I did say to him, we might get to see him back for at least maybe one round. Either in TS2 or in the main series, but yeah, it is a big shame for him that we miss a big name in Xylon 96.
Yeah, absolutely, and I sort of understand here. Blacko might get this. There's always a bit of a missing piece when you do these races and your main competitor isn't here. I mean, I'm definitely missing the presence of Mint Matt here tonight, pushing me along and giving me someone to push for every single bit of track that I can. And I'm sure towards the end of this season now, Blacko's really going to miss having Xylon really pushing him along for this championship.
Well, absolutely. Well, throughout the whole season or the whole championship, I believe it was since Catalunya back in like only about 3-4 months ago. That's where we saw the real pace of Xylon 96 come out, where he was only struggling to adapt to the car. And then once he found himself a good groove and a good car balance, he was just putting in solid performances, top 5s, top 4s, podium challenges, race in and race out in both Formula track in the F2 and as well as the TS2. So it was a bit unlucky. It was an awesome performance to see him progress through the field, but yeah, unfortunately, personal things do get in the way ahead of league racing.
Oh, I think it's definitely the right priority to take, and I can just only hope that we do see him on track in the future.
Exactly right. So it's about to get ourselves our second race under the way. Robert's about to call out the lights out for race 2 here at Trackstars TS2. I'm guessing you're going to do a bit of a Brocky Viper, or you're going to jump off the commentary box.
I don't know. I've got nowhere else to be, really. What do we think?
Oh, I believe you can make the call, my friend. It's up to you. I mean, probably you don't want to hear our voices whilst we're screaming and shouting over your headset.
It'd give me a good idea of what's going on behind me or ahead of me if all shit hits the fan. So I'm happy to sit in.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got ourselves a new Brocky commentating from the car. Maybe you might be able to guide us through a lap if you've got a 20-second lead over your next challenger.
Yeah, 20 seconds is generous. These guys have been, especially in the first couple of laps, they've got me sweating because if I don't break that slipstream in the first sector, it's on. So
yeah. That's all right. Well, I'll let you mute yourself for the race start, as I'm about to call it. So we got Viper Z for the satellite racing team in the car 56 taking pole position and the victory TS2 championships with him in first place, and Sirik on debut second place. Solid performance for Sirik there with Ando 787 in third and Sir Slayer in fourth, Little Blacko in fifth. And as we're about to go lights out, we've got Viper versus Sirik on the front row. It is lights out, green flag racing. And we're going to see who comes out on top, coming onto the main straight here. We're going to see the likes of Sirik make a battle alongside. No, he doesn't. So he's actually lost the position to Ando 787, who's got himself a better start ahead of Sirik. And we're going back the same way as we saw race 1, DJ. Ando ahead of Sirik in second place.
Yeah, it looks like Sirik's having a bit of a struggle here, getting through this first set of turns here, but he's definitely got the pressure putting onto Ando there. But as we always say, Viper's broken the slipstream, so he's got a 0.9 second gap over Ando there, but Sirik is hot on Ando's tail.
Absolutely, and as we run down through the group, we've got Viper leading, then we've got Ando and Sirik, and then we have Nightwalker Sir Slayer in fourth with Nightwalker in fifth. Blacko's dropped a position down in sixth place, and Rugworth's gained one position off the start line and up in seventh place with Mikez in eighth place, and Duram 50 again down from 7th. He's now dropped down to 9th place. So this is not the start that Duram 50 wanted. This is a big shock amongst the TS2 community that Duram 50 is not having the performance that we normally see of him.
I definitely think he hasn't got the balance there in that. Oh, who is that? I need to catch who that was.
We've seen so many accidents there at the back end of the track there. We saw Mikez run over the curbing there, and then we see another car going straight off into the field there. As you see what Mikez did, he just came in too hot and just caught the curbing. Then we see a car behind there. The two drivers in Brake Late and Sergeant Bowler almost coming together at the chicane there, and they both just ran in too deep and too hard. And my goodness, that could have been a big accident had ghosting not been turned off.
Yeah, that was a very outstanding act there, but we've got a fight on here up the top. I'll see if I can get it. Yeah, we got Nightwalker. Sirik's dropped back to 5th place, so I think he might have had a bit of a struggle there going through the chicane. So it's unfortunate to see him there at the moment, but going back to the front, we got Viper out in the front with 1.4 second gap. Back to Ando and Sir Slayer with Nightwalker and then Sirik, but they've all got about a 1 second gap to each other. But Blacko is really hounding the back of Sirik there.
Oh, so he's starting to go around the outside on the exit of the tunnel. Can Blacko go around the outside? Oh, contact's been made between Sirik and Blacko. They're so close to running each other off there. But little Blacko comes out into 5th place there. So I wonder if he might have to maybe think about giving that position back, because there was a bit of contact there before the corner was made, DJ.
Yeah, it was very, very close there. We might see Blacko just easily give that position to Sirik there, as he just pulls off to the outside, gives him the inside run there.
Very good. Oh, it looks like it might be a bit more of a battle rather than a lift off there, but still he still stays ahead of Blacko, so they've done the right move. And if that was a stewarding decision, that would be play on for Sirik and Blacko. So things happen, but it was redressed. So play on, boys, with Sirik in 5th place, starting as high up as 2nd place at the beginning of the race there. But if you see up the front, we see Sir Slayer and Nightwalker going. They're going to be battling each other out for the last place on the podium positions there, because Ando is cleared ahead of Sir Slayer and Nightwalker 964 there, and then we've got the likes of Cyric, Little Blacko, Duran 50, and Rugworth all behind them. So it could turn into a massive slipstream train come maybe around lap 7, lap 8 of the race.
Yeah, I just want to get on board of this because I want to see what the difference is with these two, because Duran looks like he doesn't have much top speed. So you can see he's doing 309 where Rugworth is approaching 320. So as I was saying earlier, I don't think he's really got that tune and that maybe the rake of the car, possibly the downforce down pat. So yeah, he might be definitely struggling with that Nissan to get it around here.
Absolutely, it's been unlucky there, but obviously, look at that. You can see the gap between Viper and Ando. That hasn't really increased that much, I would say. It's about 1.9 between Viper and Ando. So Ando must have taken that 5-minute break to really dive into the car and just find a gearbox and find a tune to suit his driving style. But he hasn't let Viper run away with the victory, not just yet.
Yeah, exactly. One mistake from Viper and it can definitely all come undone, and Ando's holding his heels. But 3 seconds back, we've got Sir Slayer, and then we've got Nightwalker, and then a little bit of a gap there to Cyric. But Duran's moved up into 6th place, so
and Blacko's dropped back. So Blacko's dropped back to the back of that train there. So something happened towards Blacko there. We didn't catch that replay, unfortunately, but he was 5th place. He's down in 8th place, and then we see guys like Luminous. So a big shout out to Luminous there, putting on a nice performance there in 9th place. And then we see the likes of Mikez and Budsy76. Budsy just had a bit of a message to me to say he's not really adapting to the track conditions as much as he'd like to. So he's just trying to work his head around the track and just try and get a bit of mileage points. But he's sitting pretty up in 12th place in the 12th place in the TS2 Championship. And if he holds out a performance like this, he could be the driver that doesn't need to do pre-qualifying races or pre-qualifying to get himself into the main TS2 Championship. So it's a good performance for Budsy in that sense, but he definitely said to me he wants to find a little bit more of that car, and he just can't find it just yet.
Yeah, well, he's actually tied for 11th with Chef Toddy, and obviously we know Chef Toddy doesn't race in TS2 much anymore. He does make the odd appearance, but he's about 290 points behind Devlin.
And the Devlin's sitting back down in 15th place there, but Devlin is a driver that definitely shows up for his racing at the early hours over in Belgium. So I think it's about almost 10 o'clock for those guys, 10 o'clock or maybe 9 o'clock in the morning for the Belgium driver in Devlin Calypso, the 666 Speed Demon racing driver, holding himself down in 15th place there. So there's a nice performance there. Then we catch back to the front, we see Viper and Ando. So again, look at that, DJ. The gap hasn't really increased. It's still staying there. He's only gaining probably about 0.1 or 0.2, probably about 0.15 per lap, I would say, over Ando 787. So Ando's found something in that Nissan.
Yeah, certainly. He's not letting Viper out of his sights as much as what he did last race, but I'm really surprised that the field's kind of gapped out a lot more now. We don't really have many battles going on, but we look at this, we've got 2 Hondas in the top 4.
And solid performance, and obviously if we had Matt, we would have seen another Honda in the top 5, so so you would have said 3 Hondas in the top 5, but no, but it's a really good performance there, and the Honda drivers are really getting that Honda nice and steady up the front, where it has been struggling to make an appearance in TS2, but then we see a few drivers jump in the Honda, and then we see the likes of Sir Slayer and Nightwalker putting on some good performances in their respective teams and their respective cars to get those cars up in the top 5, and it's showing some good performance there. But Cyric is on the charge now to catch up to Nightwalker 964 in the WRT Motorsport. So Warpath says the Nightwalker is mainly the #1 driver in WRTs, and he's proving his point. He's proving to be a solid driver in the TS2 field. As Cyric goes for an inside move, no, he doesn't. So close between those guys. They're almost contact made between them.
He gained so much time in this slip. Look at how strong this is. He's just closing that gap. Something phenomenal.
Wow. That's insane. That's good top line speed. I think it's the 20 kilo difference between those cars, between the Honda and the Nissan. So I guess it catches up a little bit on the straight line, but maybe through the corners it just loses a little bit of time. I'm not too sure, but obviously we've seen Viper run both the Lexus and the Nissan in the TS2 championship, but now he's fully committed to running the Lexus until the end of the season, as he's obviously getting some mileage points for the St. Croix 1500, sponsored by MB Glass. But yeah, he's now got a 4.5 second there, so Ando's made a mistake somewhere, and he's just lost at least 2 seconds over Viper Z there.
Sorry. Yeah, you can see he's done him a 120.2 there, and Viper's got the fastest lap with a 118.6. So he's made a little bit of a mistake there, and he's let Viper get out of his grasp as such now. But he's still holding in for a outright second for the round. And
Sirik's actually made the move. He's made the move on Nightwalker there. So Sirik hasn't got too much. He's only got about 3 laps to go to catch Sir Slayer, and I wonder, it's probably gonna put Ando and Sirik on level on points here. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that all plays out come the end of the standings. But for Sirik to get possibly a top 3 for the round and maybe second for the round, I mean, why not? I mean, that's a solid outing on your first race in your first round in TS2.
Yeah, definitely, especially to get even a top 5 in your first outing, to get a top 3 or even a second place, that's absolutely outstanding. But I think maybe I put something in that tune that I need to find in my Lexus for that Nissan. But he's closed that gap from 1.1 to 0.8, but he's just opened that back up again. But maybe this Nissan might have something down the straight that Honda doesn't. We'll just wait and see with that one. So don't count Sirik out yet for a third.
And I wouldn't even count Nightwalker out. He's only about less than a second behind Sirik, and obviously you can see the pull from the Nissan GTR is closing the gap to the Honda massively. If you see that, it's almost even under a second before they get to the right-hander at the exit of the tunnel. So there you go, just under a second there. So he's gained about 4/10 down the back straight and closed up to Sir Slayer pretty rapidly. So 2 laps time as we cross the start-finish line. Can Sirik hold on to that first place? As we see Viper said, grab a penalty there coming into the chicane there. So let's see if we caught that. Oh, I think it's just run wide there. And I think if you run too wide on that section, you do get yourself a half-second penalty. There you go. So he's just run a bit too wide on the exit there. And that is very unfortunate for Viper Z there.
Yeah, no, would have closed the gap. He lost about a second, 1 second, 1.3 seconds burning that penalty. So unfortunate there, but still under no stress at all from Ando. So Ando's putting in pretty consistent. He's running pretty consistently at the moment, about a 19.2, 19.3. So he's done a 19.3, 2 19.2s and 19.1. So he's running pretty consistently at the moment. But look at this gap from Slayer to Sirik now. It's gone down to 0.8.
Well, watch that gap tumble as he gets closer to the slipstream. It's about 0.7, so this is the perfect time to be in that slipstream as it is closing, and it's closing. Can he get closer with only 2 laps to go? Can Sirik get himself right on the tail of Sir Slayer 1991 on the final lap here for race 2 at Trackstars TS2 Championship? He's run a bit wide, Sir Slayer, so that opens up a perfect opportunity for Sirik to get closer to make that gap closer. He's just taken a bit too much curving there. But he hasn't lost him. He's only lost him a little bit of time there, but he's actually gained that back there. So he's about 0.5 behind Sir Slayer 1991. As we see Sir Slayer up in 3rd place, Sirik in 4th, Nightwalker in 5th place. They're doing a solid job as we see someone ghosting back there. Who's that?
That's Duran. So I think Duran's got the penalty there at some point. Yeah, so he's 0.5, yeah. So very unfortunate there, but we'll go back to this battle here, but don't... Oh, Sirik nails the wall.
He's smashed the wall on the side there, and that's going to lose him all the time that he's put on Sir Slayer 1991. But that's going to bring Nightwalker right into the party here, DJ, for that 4th place here. So not taking our eyes off this, but we will have to keep an eye on Viper said as he crosses the line here, coming through the tunnel for the final time. Trackstars TS2 racing for the Tokyo Sprint. As he's flashing the lights, he's making our job pretty simple here. We're gonna call it a Viper set clean sweep. So maybe Woodsy might have to get himself the trap card laid out for Viper Z. And maybe you could say for Viper, you know, maybe Matt's gonna come back for a revenge, and maybe Matt's gonna come back and take the victories again. But for now, it is a clean sweep for Viper Z in the 56 Satellite Racing Lexus, and that takes the clean sweep and the victory for the Tokyo Sprint with Ando 787. A solid performance there. And oh, Sir Slayer and Sirik are about to go side by side. Who comes out ahead? It is Sir Slayer ahead of Sirik there. So again, a last minute battle there between Sirik and for Sirik. That was incredible, but unfortunately he gets 4th place, and that is going to be 2nd place overall for Ando 787 and Sirik in 3rd place overall. But wow, that was so close at the end.
Yeah, that was 0.08, I think it was. I'll just jump back here. So yeah, 0.083 between Sir Slayer and Sirik for 3rd place. So that was definitely very close.
Very close indeed, but a big congrats to Sirik there for his debut outing. Awesome to see as we round up through the grid. Luminous, shout out to Luminous in 10th place. A solid performance for Luminous, with RoboSport 11th, Budsy in 12th, Bowler and Break Late having that big incident on lap 1 at the chicane in 13th and 14th, and Devlin rounding up the grid in 15th place. But nobody can take victory away from Viper. A clean sweep, pole position and fastest lap here for the Trackstars TS2 Tokyo Sprint for the Satellite Racing. Viper takes the clean sweep and the overall round win, and hopefully we can get him back on the stream once he unmutes his mic. Big congratulations, Viper for that double, for that clean sweep victory.
Thanks very much, guys. I'll be the first to admit that wasn't the best idea I've ever had, staying in the commentary Discord. Loved hearing what was happening behind me, but I could tell you, I reckon I was losing about 0.2 a lap. Just I couldn't hear when the car was wheel spinning coming out of the hairpin, so I nearly lost it about 6 or 7 times.
Oh no.
And yeah, it was so weird, but I'm happy to walk away with the win. So.
Because we thought for a second there, like obviously you had a nice battle there at the start, but you could see right behind you, Ando wasn't losing touch of you. He was only losing about 0.1 per lap before he made a big incident, a big mistake, probably around about the hairpin section.
Yeah, he definitely found a little bit in that GTR. So whether he just didn't get the time to do anything with it during the week, or whether he found something, between the 2 races, I'm not 100% sure. I personally was running a little bit slower than race 1. But he definitely found something, and it definitely had me a little bit worried. But I just started hitting my marks a little bit more and running consistent, 18.6s, 18.7s. And at that point, I was pretty happy with where the gap was, until I got the penalty, of course. But by then, It was a little bit too late. So.
Well, everyone makes mistakes. We saw Matt do a 360 at Mount Panorama, and now we see you do a penalty. So everyone's human when it comes to racing against you guys. So mistakes happen, and happens to the best of the best. So. But yeah, but I was having a chat with DJ about you having a run with the Nissan GTR and now the Lexus in TS2. What similarities have you found between those 2 cars, and what has made you the decision to stick with the Lexus for the rest of the season?
Oh, we got Mr. Alien. We got Mr. Alien spec, mate.
Okay, that's definitely not coming through.
See, this is what happens, and then that's why he lags out of a Bathurst 1000 race with 15 laps to go, mate.
Hold on.
There, that's a little bit better there, yeah.
Now you're clear. That was a bit funny.
Have we got me now?
Yeah,
is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Alright, that was odd. So ultimately the decision, I don't know how much of that you heard the first time, but it was none. Brilliant. Okay. It's solely just that I get used to the car to help DJ's championship bid. Like I want to make sure that I'm used to the Lexus and I'm not confused by anything it's doing at Kyoto, Bathurst, or indeed St. Croix in December. The GTR, in my opinion, is the better race car. I feel like it's got a better package all around. You're able to push it a little bit harder, and the tuning window is a lot better. But the RCF definitely holds its own. As we saw tonight, it was doing quite well on all accounts. And just getting used to it for the Enduros is the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we see Woodsy in the chat, it's just like both are OP over the Honda. So, but we do.
Pull your head in, Mr. Wood. Pull your head in.
I'm gonna refuse to comment on that one.
If he has a chat with Matt, then he might be able to find some. Maybe we get Woodsy and Matt to do a TS2 race one day. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll pull them both in, put them in the Lexus, and see how they go.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I put Woodsy in the Lexus at Bathurst. I said, all right, mate. You think I'm having struggles. You jump in. He jumped in for a practice, did one, and like he got up to Reed Park, and he jumped out and he goes, "Nah, you can keep that." So
Bro, I'm struggling.
yeah. Oh, I don't know if you've seen it, but Sirik had a tribute DJ Lively. He had "Haha, bro, I'm
Oh,
struggling"
did
on the
he?
side of his car.
Oh,
So
You'll see it on the beginning of the stream
yeah,
when you watch
so
it
oh,
again.
I can't
yeah,
wait. Oh, this is gonna be so good.
if you watch back the start of the stream, he had "Haha, bro, I'm struggling" dash DJ on the left hand side of his car. So it was very
Oh my god.
gave me the best laugh of the weekend. But yeah, that was pretty solid there.
That
Yeah,
is fantastic.
that's funny. But as we wrap up the stream, big congrats, Viper. Thanks for jumping in the box, mate, and have a nice, well deserved night to yourself. And yeah, we'll catch you around for the next round for the Formula 2s.
Thanks, fellas. Anytime. Good luck tonight.
As we conclude the Trackstars TS2 broadcast, we would like to say thank you for our viewers for joining us for the Trackstars TS2 round 18 Tokyo night race for the Tokyo Sprint, where it was clean swept by Viper Z in the 56 satellite racing team. So strong performance there for Viper Z DJ.
Yeah, definitely strong performance there, and it was sad not to see Matt, but we had a bit of Ando give him a run, and we had Sirik give him a run as well. So
Absolutely.
I wonder, would a team be on the lookout for Sirik? Possibly.
That is interesting. Like, as we've seen his performance here, let's wait and see how many more rounds he does in the TS2 Championship, and then teams will be probably on the Discord calling him, asking him to sign a contract. So we'll have to wait and see. But as we round up, as we conclude the series, as we conclude the night, thank you so much for tuning in. And obviously, as for myself, on a personal note, big shout out to Xylon96 for sadly withdrawing his number 32 Toll Mashbuds Racing in the TS2 Championship. Thoughts are with you, buddy, and I'll get in contact with you over the next couple of weeks. So we miss you. All the best. But on behalf of DJ